Oh, what is going on, guys? This is Dan here. Welcome back into the channel and welcome to episode 43 of Disney Fiasco 43. And I can't believe it's Saturday already. We had some amazing people already in the chat already. The chat has been going flying by so quickly, but it's Saturday. And I thought I'd bring in a very, very special guest. A guest who I thought, when I thought of extinct attractions, there's only one man who knows anything about extinct attractions. And that is my good friend, my power channel, a man, a legend, Rob Fuzz. How's it going, my friend?
Disney,
good to see you.
My man. Thank you, man. Thank you so much for having me on. I think this is my second appearance. I was looking back. I don't think I've been on since, December, So
Wow.
Thank you so much for having me back. Maybe by third. I don't know. But I love this show.
Maybe your third.
As you know, I love this show. Thank you so much for having me on. And yeah, I'm kind of stereotyped as the extinct attraction man because I like posting my videos and everything. And just, Dan, the bottom line is I'm just old. That's all.
But here's the thing.
Just old. That's all. I've rode these rides. So.
Here's the thing, though. If there's anything that I feel is that I really get to know about these old extinct attractions, it's through your videos, because I do love Frankie Fridays. I love doing pub talk with you. There's so many great things that we do together. But your extinct attractions, the way you film stuff from back in the day and the things that have changed over time is amazing. So there was no better guest that I could get for our top extinct attractions than you. So thank you so much for joining me once again. And guys, if you have not subscribed to Rob Fuzz's channel, I don't know what you guys are doing, because this guy is an absolute legend. He's got a great channel. He's also got another channel called Drop That Rope, so hit that subscribe button or drop that rope as well. But let's say hi to people in the chat. We have Liam here. We got the Mickey Bunch. Hey Kelly. We got Donna Jaworski. We got Brandon. We got Brandy and Dave. Speaking of Brandy and Dave, please guys go check out the Disfluencers podcast. My Disfluencers podcast was just released literally yesterday. So much fun. Thank you so much to Brandy and Dave for having me on there. Joseph Andrews, Margaret, Myers and the Mouse, Steve Michaels, Johns is here, my friend. Steve's World, Myers and the Mouse, Kate Atwood, Lisa, Misty Morning, Gelly's Journeys.
Great people here.
Amazing people. Thank you so much. The Shep family. Thank you, the Shep family, for joining us once again. Samara Brown. Jesse, welcome in, Jesse. Good to see you. And Mouse Talk is here as well. Mouse Talk, extinct attractions. So many wonderful rides are gone but not forgotten. Oh, hi everyone. Speaking of Mouse Talk, tomorrow, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Star Wars Sunday. Yes, Star Wars Sunday, where we're going to be talking about Attack of the Clones. With Dave from Brandy and Dave and Walt from Mouse Talk on Mouse Talk's channel. So please go check out Mouse Talk's channel as well. Laura B, welcome into the stream. D. Anderson Fallen, welcome into the stream as well. Jamie B, welcome in. Before we even get started, guys, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring that notification bell. It's going to be a really fun stream today. I just want to clear up some really big information, some big news happening on the Disney Fiasco family. Hey, Brian B, welcome into the stream. As we know, Megan is still on her hiatus in Africa. She's doing an absolute amazing job, taking lots of footage and photographs and just having an amazing time over in Africa. But I also want to give a shout out to my other partner channel, Corey Fiasco. Corey has been a wonderful friend for quite a long time now. But he there's no been falling out, there's no nothing, but unfortunately Corey will now will not be featuring on Disney Fiasco for the time being. He has apologetically left the Disney Fiasco streams. We're gonna miss him. He's a really good friend of mine. We're still good friends, we're still buddies, I'm still going to see him in August, but unfortunately he he will not be featured on the Disney Fiasco shows anymore. So But that doesn't mean he's not forgotten like these attractions. But we are going to continue with the show as no, he's not an extinct attraction. He's far from that. But big shout out to my partner channel, Corey Fiasco and Mickey's Magic. Yes. Please go subscribe to the channels as well, and go subscribe to my power channels. Speaking of one of my power channels, Rob Fuzz in the house. So
you jumped over that real quick. That podcast is awesome. I started listening to it yesterday. It was really late. I'm going to finish listening to it. And that the last episode of the Star Wars thing you're doing tomorrow, it was amazing. You definitely can't miss those two guys.
Yeah, awesome shows. Tomorrow's stream on Mouse Talk's channel about Star Wars. There's gonna be a lot of ranting, a lot of ranting about Attack of the Clones. It's going to be a lot of fun. Timothy Rainwaters, welcome into the stream. Good to see you, my friend. Right, so extinct attractions. When I was thinking extinct, I was thinking very much of not just extinct rides, but just extinct attractions. So rides, shows, parades, just everything that has sadly left the Disney bubble. We're not just going to be talking about Walt Disney World. We may throw in some Disneyland or other attractions from different parks in there as well. But these are the attractions that we sadly miss. So, hey, John Hazelton, welcome into the stream. So let's get started. Episode 43. And I'm going to kick things off. Rob Fuzz, what is the first thing? What's the attraction you miss the most?
So I'm gonna do a little disclaimer here. I don't know. I feel bad for Dan just because of his age, because I'm obviously I'm older than Dan, and it's just in my heart I wish that some of these on my list you got to experience, and I just obviously you could experience it through video and whatever, but I just don't I don't know. A lot of these are from the heart. A lot of these from my list here are just because when I experienced them as a kid, they were just amazing. And don't forget, Dan, like I think it's you got to put in perspective too. There was no internet. I didn't have a computer when I did these rides. I don't even. I don't even think there's no magic bands. There's no cell phones. There's no fast passes. There's no fast passes when like some of these rides and everything were out and everything. But my first pick, long story long there. My first pick's the original Journey in Imagination.
Right. I knew you were gonna go there because if you guys didn't check out Frankie Friday yesterday, you did mention Figment and the Dreamfinder. But why is the original Journey into Imagination amongst especially the older Disney World demographic, such a special attraction? And why is why is that older version so popular?
Yeah, it was based on the ride now. That older version it was a lot longer. It was I think it was 6 minutes longer. I should have did my homework here. I apologize. It was definitely longer. Like I said, I was a kid, and that whole pavilion was just incredible. Like old Epcot. I wish you can take a time machine back then and just experience old Epcot. Like I could mention everything that was not there anymore. That would be amazing about it. But I think it was just because of the magic of Epcot. When I first went, I was 13. The ride was just very innovative, very clever, very original. And it's not, I guess it is a knock on Disney. They don't really do like, they'll take an IP and then they'll make it a ride, which is great. They'll do maybe more technological things and they'll bring stuff in. But at this point, you got to remember, this was Dreamfinder and Figment. This was not a movie. This was not anything. You went to Disney World. You experienced this for the first time. Maybe you saw it on TV, on a commercial. Maybe you saw a picture of it, everything. But you went into this attraction. You get in these little pods. They were very small. They were definitely different. It was one continuous thing. Now they have it where I think there's a group of things that go together, but it was a continuous ride. You get in there and maybe like about 10 cars go in and you follow along this huge spaceship with the Dreamfinder and Figment, and you see these guys and you follow along with it and real slow and everything. And you're sitting there for about, 4 minutes. It seems like maybe longer. And they start talking about what the premise is, and Figment pops up and Dreamfinder. The animatronics at the time they weren't the greatest, but they were just so amazing. And then you went in, and the ride was just so clever. It was so innovative. It just was so much fun. And Figment he was just awesome. Like, he pop up all over the place, and he was just so much fun. And then the climax of the ride, you come around and you see Figment all over the place, and he's dancing, and he was just so much fun. And there was even a Dreamfinder guy that walked around with Figment puppet in his hand. He just had a lot of fun. And the DreamWorks was upstairs. That's all part of the experience. And even the fountains. And it was amazing. And then they had, thinking about it too, they have Magic Journeys right next door. And just that whole experience. And maybe I should just say the Journey and Imagination Pavilion, that extinct, the original one. It was just so magical. It was an amazing experience. And to make it even worse, the second incarnation of the ride, which didn't last very long, made it so much better. The new one's pretty cool, but that original version was just incredible. So.
Just a quick hello to the Lucky Minute, Archangel as well, Mike from Our Theme Life. Hey buddy, how's it going? Natalie Tam, welcome into the stream. Holly Hampton, welcome into the stream. And Rob, I think you're right. And when I asked you why is Journey into Imagination, the original, so classic and original, it's because of the passion. And I can tell with all the description that you've just said, right? You are so passionate about what it was and why it's gone down so as a legendary attraction, right?
Mm.
And I think, Figment has become not only the mascot of Imagination, but kind of has become the mascot of Epcot, really. You see him as a trophy area.
Recently, maybe the last 3 years.
Yeah.
Because I think the demand was there. Like, people my age, they want it,
Yeah, the actual character of Figment has become so popular because of the older attraction. And people, obviously we still have Journey into Imagination with Figment now, but that it's completely different to what it was back in. I have the original soundtrack on my phone. Granted, I've never ridden the original ride, but I still, listen to the soundtrack of what it was, and I could appreciate, the originality of Journey into Imagination. And like you said, they actually had a Dreamfinder and Figment character meet in the park, and you don't see that. You don't see characters that aren't in movies, right? You don't see characters that aren't in movies that are walking around the park, and that gives it more life, I think. So Yossification, welcome into the stream. Who else has just jumped in? Captain Okron and Liz Cashman, welcome into the stream as well.
I was going to bring it up too, Dan. Like, I swear I was going to bring it up because we did it was just the other day. I think that's what you had in your mind. Dan was playing some music and I was humming along or something, and I was reciting some lyrics and everything. And I think that was it too. Like, I learned the music. I learned Whole of Epcot. I knew that by heart. I knew those songs, and then it was huge. Like, it wasn't an album on the radio or anything. It's just a soundtrack. How often do you see a soundtrack to a theme park? And I love that. And I love that you listen to it too. It's so cool.
And also, you can look back on some of the newer albums, and One Little Spark is still on the album because it's such an iconic and catchy song.
Yes.
It is so catchy. And no, I think you're absolutely right. I think Journey into Imagination, the original, had to be on there. And I think Epcot will be coming on, I think, quite often throughout the stream. Haley and Corey, hey guys, welcome into the stream. I just wanted to give a big shout out to my partner channels, Corey and Haley. The Fiascos are here. They are here, and it's good to see you guys. So welcome into the stream. That reminds me, Corey, I'll need to message you after the stream. But yeah, good to see you, my friend. And a big shout out to Meg as well. So my first pick, we're heading over to Disney's Hollywood Studios. One attraction I loved, during my childhood, an attraction that made me fall in love with cinema and the movies and everything about it. And that was the Backlot Tour. I loved the Backlot Tour. The Backlot Tour, I think, really personified Disney's MGM, Hollywood Studios, whatever you want to call it. It just gave a really behind-the-scenes look at the movies. They had the Catastrophe Canyon. They had the the scene where people got drenched from like the submarine scene. They, you know, and then you could go into the warehouse with all the props. You see all the vehicles. I think there was like a vehicle from Star Wars. There was Herbie. There was the Walt Disney plane. You had the Eiffel Tower. Like, it just was a wonderful attraction, and it really was. You know, there wasn't any Imagineering, which is kind of strange. It was a ride that had no Imagineering because all the Imagineering was through cinema. And then during the end of its run, it started using Pearl Harbor, the film Pearl Harbor, which is granted not the best film ever made, but they used a lot of their creations, as you would say, to create this backlot experience. And this really was MGM Studios. It really was. You know, you would walk around the streets of America and you would, you know, go on the backlot tour. That's what it was. That's what MGM, that was like one of the biggest rides at Hollywood Studios at the time. So
it's incredible.
So let's just have a look in the chat. Yes, backlot tour was one of my favorites, says Gelly's Journeys. Mouse Tour said, I love the backlot tour. Really, really missed that ride, Catastrophe Canyon. Always MGM, says Brandy and Dave. People saying hi to Corey and Haley. Lisa Post is here. Welcome, Lisa.
Hey, Lisa. Hey, everyone.
I remember riding the backlot tour, and I remember riding the I remember riding the backlot tour the last time. Hey, Amanda K, welcome into the stream. My dad was going through a lot of back issues at the time, and we were walking really slow. And I said, Dad, we gotta hurry up because we're gonna miss the train after the water scene. And we finally make it. We were the last ones there, and there was no room. They shut all the doors and everything. They thought everybody was full. And they said, why don't your family sit up front with us? And so we sat up front with the guy who was holding the radio. And it was just amazing. That was my last ever experience on the backlot tour, and I just loved it. John says we did it in 98-99. It was about an hour.
It was really long.
Now, Rob, your experience with the backlot tour.
Obviously, there was different incarnations of it. Right now, when it first opened, it was this huge walking thing, and right now it got taken over by Midway Mania in the studios. But they had and it was really the intention of MGM Studios, because I've been to Universal Studios out in California. I've been to Warner Brothers Studios, Paramount Studios. I've been to a lot of studios in California, which is a great experience. And that was the goal, to bring those experiences to Florida. It just never gelled. It never took off, unfortunately, with MGM. Well, I think they did like a Hulk Hogan movie. They did a Ernest Goes Saves Christmas. They did a couple little B movies, Disney stuff. I remember when I went, it was a big thing. You could not take pictures, put your cameras away. There was no photography. They were very strict about it because it was an active set. And for a long time, I think maybe 2 of the times I was there, that's how long they had a plane in one of the studios. And right now, where you make the right into Toy Story Land, those big buildings, I think it's One Man's Dream, Toy Story Mania, and then there's another building there too. I think it's both Toy Story Mania now. But you used to walk through that whole thing, and you would look down on the catwalk, and you would see the different productions going on. There was another part where they did Bette Midler had. Did you ever see that? Bette Midler had a film that they filmed on the back lot. That was another big part. And there was a lot of cool props, and they did a Honey, I Shrunk the Kids thing. It was just a lot involved. It was really cool. I think it was even over an hour. Someone was saying it was an hour. It was a great experience. And on one of my videos, you see, I did one of those. I actually, I volunteered in the big thing with the water.
Oh, no way. That's so
I got
cool
to do that. And it's on my channel if you want to go see it.
I'm going to check that out.
It was very cool to get to do that too. That wasn't my last one, but yeah, the last one was very sad. Just to see it over the years. It was sad, and there's but there's so much online that you can find about the backlot tour. I was looking at it today, and there is really, really a lot of old school stuff. Thank you, Don. I really appreciate it. Juan Rodriguez, welcome into the stream, my friend. Welcome in. Yeah, another cool thing is too, they had the light show back there too. You could walk the streets where the houses were and everything.
Yeah, so with the streets, so linking in with the backlots where there's the Streets of America, and they had the Osborne.
They used to have it in the back where the houses were during the tram and everything, and then they brought it up.
Then they brought it out.
It was in 2 different locations, which is pretty cool.
See, I didn't know that actually. Yeah. That's
but like they would close the ride, they would open the gates, and then you would physically just walk throughout those streets. Like I think Desperate Housewives' house and like those other houses that maybe it wasn't Desperate Housewives. Maybe that was, I get them confused with what the other studios, but those houses, whatever they had decorated that. They had it all in the back. It was so cool. And then I don't know, they just didn't. Then they moved it to the Streets of America.
Yeah, I miss the Osborne dancing lights. I think those are beautiful. Those are really just fun. I don't know if those are on your list, but
they're not.
but I remember Hollywood Studios never really had a Christmassy thing with that, except for those dancing lights until recently with the Jingle Bell, Jingle Bam thing. But those dancing lights was the biggest thing, because I remember just standing in the Streets of America and thousands of lights were illuminating this whole Streets of America. And it was beautiful. Like, it was absolutely amazing. So
that was my look back moment when I think we went in 2005 and they said this is the last year of the Osborne lights and everything. And my family was rushing me a little bit, and I got choked up. I sat there and I looked around and everything, and I took it in and I enjoyed it. And that was I remember maybe I'll be honest with you, maybe I don't remember my last tram ride because I didn't know it was going to be closed. But yeah. But yeah, that I remember that too. So they moved the Osborne lights because they got rid of that whole street thing, all those houses they got rid of, and then and then they put in the lights, camera, action, and that really cut it too. So, and then all of that is now gone because Galaxy is moving in. So Rob, where are you going to go for your second pick? We're probably going to overlap here, but my second pick, the backlot tour was on my honorable mention list.
Okay,
Dan told me to pick 3 main ones, so I'm going to go over my 3 main ones. I'm sure it's on yours. My second pick was The Great Movie Ride. So, yep.
Sorry. It was really funny. Here's a little bit of an insight to Disney Fiasco. If you've ever been on the show, I always make my list literally surprisingly minutes before. Yeah. And I actually, before the stream, completely forgot about the Great Movie Ride until I started the live stream, and I put it as my third pick because I think it's an obvious pick. It is a iconic, classic. It's a legendary ride. So I think we could probably spend all.
I have 3 or 4 shows just on the Great Movie Ride when it was the anniversary last. It was been closed about 2.5 years now.
It's crazy.
Year anniversary. I did a pub talk. We did a pub talk about it. We did a
pub talk, and I was there. I was there because I remember you did a pub talk with I don't know. I think it was like Mike and Brandon and everybody.
Yep.
And I was at Hollywood Studios that day. And I remember like joining the stream for pub talk, and I'm like, I'm actually at the closed Great Movie Ride, even though the Wi-Fi was terrible.
That was that was fun. That was a lot of fun. Yeah, I remember that. But come on, it just it was the whole story with that ride, the licensing and the getting the all those iconic Wizard of Oz and Singing in the Rain and Casablanca, and the rumor that the plane was the actual plane from Casablanca, and
which is not true.
And what you find out is not true. Indiana Jones is in there. Come on, like it just. And then one of my favorite moments during the Oscars and everything, and they have this favorite moment too at the end of the ride. They just have this amazing. It's changed a couple of times over the years, but they have this amazing film montage.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
You literally walk out of that ride, you're like, oh, I want to see that. I want to see that movie. I want to see this movie and everything. It was just, we could talk about it when you get to your part too, but it was just.
No, we'll overlap. We'll continue to talk about it because I think the Great Movie Ride. I think if you did not experience the Great Movie Ride, it's kind of like one of those things that people will always, because let's be honest, you go to Hollywood Studios and you look down Hollywood Boulevard, and there is the Great Movie Ride. Yes, it's the Chinese theater, but everybody who knew that Chinese theater building, everyone knows it's the Great Movie Ride. That is the building. And now it's going to be Mickey Minnie's Runaway Railway, whatever it is. But I think every time I walk into Hollywood Studios, I always say, hey, that's the Great Movie Ride. Even when I'm calling somebody on the phone from Hollywood Studios, if I'm trying to meet up with somebody, I say, hey, I'm over by Great Movie Ride, because that's what it is, right? You know, you go into that little courtyard and you have all the handprints there. I hope they never take away the handprints. You have just the amazing queue with all the props and costumes and the trailers. I loved that queue because you were watching all the trailers for all the films you're going to see in the Great Movie Ride. And it was amazing.
How could I forget Alien? The Alien part's incredible. You know, Steve was saying in the chat here, not to interrupt, he's saying, I was not sad the Great Movie Ride shut down. I thought it needed either to go or needed to be updated. I agree, Steve. Unfortunately, towards the end, it didn't see much love. You know, it just it did its course of time. I'm not going to say I I love it though. Like I if it was there, I'd go on it again. I'd go on it like 3 or 4 times, like I did every single time. So
right. So let's just quickly play a little game, right? With you and everybody in the chat. We're going complete off the script right now. We are going to play one of my favorite games called Armchair Imagineer, and in the chat, you are going to redesign your Great Movie Ride with some films that you wanted to see in the Great Movie Ride. Now, there are some rules. One, they have to be non-Universal, because obviously we had Universal Studios, so it could be anything that's not part of Universal Studios. It could be Disney, it could be Warner Brothers, it could be anything like that. It also has to feature all different genres. It can't have any sort of explicit content, because obviously this is a theme park, it's children's. You've got to make sure that it's covering every single genre. So you got to have a comedy, you got to have some sort of thriller, horror, that kind of thing. You got to have an action, you got to have an adventure. So, you know, would you keep some of them in? Would you take some out? So, hey, Amy Scott, welcome into the stream. Coco, says Bobby Wald. Now, Rob, what kind of films would you have wanted to see in the Great Movie Ride?
You know, it's tough. You know, I don't think you could update certain sections.
No, you can't. I don't think you can. You know, update. You can't update Indiana Jones. You can't update. I feel you can't update Mary Poppins.
Like just plopping out some scenes and everything. Like I think, you know, you think about it too. The only thing that was added in there was Fantasia animation wise. I know it's funny because someone said Coco. Bobby World said Coco. I thought Coco too. I thought that would be really cool. It just, I don't know. It just
So Walt says Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings was actually considered to be in the Great Movie Ride before it went over to Paramount Universal Studios. The Twilight Zone, but obviously we had the Twilight Zone Tower of Terror, so maybe they already had plans for that before they moved it into the Great Movie Ride. Keeping the Western, so John Wayne and Clint Eastwood, The Wizard of Oz, maybe. Hey, Laurel, welcome into the stream. You know, I would have loved to see like a more modern musical. I'd love to see Grease. I think Grease would have been a great musical to add into the Great Movie Ride, because I think, you know, Grease is kind of like The Wizard of Oz. It's iconic. Everyone knows Grease Lightning. You know, I think I
would have got rid of Ridley Scott. Or what's her name? Sigourney Weaver.
Weaver.
She's definitely out. So.
Titanic could have replaced. That's a great one, Rodriguez. You could have replaced that with Casablanca, maybe. Oh no, I loved Alien. Alien is that's okay. So
the Alien scene's great. That animatronics is horrible. So
Rob, what is Steve's well said before I come to you, Rob? Steve says it could use Avatar, Independence Day, Lord of the Rings, Die Hard, Home Alone, The Martian, Sound of Music, and Planet of the Apes. Wow, really interesting.
Die Hard too. I was thinking Die Hard too.
Die Hard's great choice. Yeah, you could see Bruce Willis in the vents.
Yeah.
Though, you know, you would have to cut out some of his dialogue. And you know where we're going with that.
My heart, oh yeah, melon farmer, right? But we always say melon farmer. But yeah, I think in my heart, I think if say it was around today still, right, and they said, okay, we're closing, give us 2 years, like that, like supposedly they're doing Spaceship Earth. And redoing certain things, I think they would go. There would be a Marvel part, there would be a Star Wars part, there would be all properties, and maybe throw in a Moana, throw in a Coco, something like that.
Maybe throw in Muppets because they own Muppets.
Muppets too. Yeah, I think that's the way they would go. You know,
I would agree with that. Yeah, I would agree with that. With the whole IP takeover, Bob Iger IP thing that he's been doing for a long time. So maybe we could brainstorm about the Great Movie Ride for ages and ages and ages.
Maybe just all Pixar too, something like that.
All Pixar movie ride, maybe. Before we move on, Rob, what was your favorite scene from the Great Movie Ride?
I think the bottom line of my favorite scene was, I love that witch. It was at the time, when it the first gen of animatronics. I think there was another generation. I think this was called a third gen, like animatronic, and I was just amazed how she popped out, her fluid motion, or just everything about that. Like, I was convinced that was a real person as a kid. Like, she was amazing. So I think that the huge scene, the two cars come together towards the end. You see all those animatronics, all the munchkins and stuff, and you see that witch. And I think it all comes to a point, and I just love that scene.
That animatronic
she's incredible.
Incredible. It is just it's one in a million. So my favorite scene, I already said it before, it's the Alien scene. I love Alien. People didn't really expect a dark, because Alien is not only a sci-fi film, it's a horror film. It's very suspenseful. And there's not just one xenomorph in the Great Movie Ride, there's two. There's one that comes out the side and that one that drops down from the ceiling. And I didn't work that great. Everyone was quite scared though. Yeah.
It didn't work that great.
It didn't work that great. But could you imagine if they updated it today? Imagine the xenomorph being fluid like the Navi shaman from River Journey. That would be incredible. I would love to see a xenomorph like that. But Great Movie Ride. It's a must. It's definitely a must on our list. So great pick. My second pick is a pick that actually is still there today, but it's a different version, kind of like Journey into Imagination, and we are going the complete opposite side of the park, literally the complete other side. We're heading over to Test Track. Test Track, when I hear the words Test Track, I think straight away test dummies. The queue for Test Track, we see all those test dummies being smashed and crumpled and barged into walls and things. And for me, I'm a big Disney fan, a big movie fan, but I love my cars as well. I love my cars, and I was desperate to get on Test Track over and over and over again as a kid. And I remember going on with my dad when this wasn't a 90-minute wait, when it was a 20-minute wait, and I would ride it over and over and over again. Everything was white and yellow and orange, test dummy colors, and the ride queue was so funny because of these dummies being destroyed. Pretty much, things were blowing up. And just instead of it all being kind of like Tron-like, it was very much like, this is our test zone, and it just was very nostalgic. It's I love both versions, but this one really resonates me as a child. Like, this thing, I remember there was two rides as a child I went on over and over and over again. One was Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger Spin, and one was the original Test Track. These two rides I rode over and over again because there was that certain nostalgia about it. I just loved banking at 45 degrees, going 65 miles an hour.
Fastest ride in Disney World,
It's the fastest ride at Disney World. And just being able to go on a ride like that after seeing dummies being destroyed, I mean, it's for me, it was a must on my list. I know it's not, when people think Test Track, they think of the modern thing, but it's my list, and I think and people in the chat say they absolutely love it. I do miss the old Test Track, says Walt. World of Motion says WD Gaming and Disney History.
Yeah, well, I was going to trump you by saying that when you were a kid, you liked the original. The ride before that was World of Motion.
Yeah.
It's I picked my 3 top, and it's definitely on my honorable mention list is World of Motion, but just the same as you, like when you were a kid, like there was so much detail in World of Motion. There was so much going on. There was so much. It was so immersive. Okay, maybe the animatronics weren't the best in the world, but it was
the 80s.
Yeah,
the animatronics
at that point, that ride was incredible. There's so much details and so much fun. And rest in peace, those animatronics and everything. Ironically, they had them backstage at the backlot tour when at some point you walked in one of the buildings right before you got on the thing. You walked through and you saw like the sheep and the horses and the animals and the figures and all those different animatronics were in that backlot tour, which is cool. They kind of saved them. I don't know where they're at now, but that World of Motion was incredible. So. And of course, the Test Track was incredible too. And I don't know if you know this or not, but World of Motion was there. They gutted World of Motion. They built Test Track. It literally took them 3 or 4 years past when Test Track was done to fix and to finalize the tires on those cars because they kept wearing out and everything. And when they could, I went there literally 4 times and there was nothing there. It took so long for them to finalize Test Track because it was so innovative and everything. I think they've got it down now. So obviously they have the Cars one in California Adventure, and they have this, and but that was a big, I went there and I heard those cars riding, and there was no one on those rides for years because they had a real hard time getting it finalized.
And also because
so innovative
if you look at the dates, right? And look at Epcot before Test Track was built, right? Before, while World of Motion was there, people wanted thrill rides, People wanted thrill rides, and Epcot didn't have any thrill rides. They had Journey to Imagination. They had, I believe they had the Seas at that point. They had Horizons, which we'll probably talk about. They had Spaceship Earth. They had the World of Motion, but there was no thrill ride. And people wanted thrill rides.
Yes.
And that's why they were like, right, we're going to gut World of Motion and say, right, we're going to, give it some horsepower and give it some Test Track. So I love Test Track and a lot of love of Tapestry of Nations Parade, which is wonderful because I love the music to the Tapestry of Nations. I think Epcot is
why don't I remember what that is? What's Tapestry
of Nations was I believe it was a parade that was in the late 80s, 90s. I can't remember the exact dates. And it was just a parade. They went around the World Showcase. Lots of different flags and
I don't remember that.
I need to do some more research, but I love the music to it.
Everyone's going nuts over Tapestry of Nations.
And it's quite funny. It's kind of ironic how much we're talking about Epcot and how much it's changing now and the announcements that have been happening.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Epcot is always changing.
They're going to have the biggest indoor roller coaster in the world now. Speaking of, they don't have thrill rides. So,
thank you, Amy Scott. 1999 to 2000 was the Tapestry of Nations. Used a lot of large drums and metallic figures, said Steve Swab. So, yeah. We need to go and I love the music. I need to go and watch it. Right, we are back to you with your 3rd pick.
I love this community. I love everyone that, like Mouse Talk just said it. He misses the Main Street Electrical Parade. God bless you, Walt. I agree with you. And it's just, I always joke around that. Like, I always thought I was called, my parents nicknamed me DW as a kid because for Disney World. And I'm like, I always thought I was a big shot and everything. I know nothing compared to half these people in this thing. So God bless you guys. Thank you so much for coming today for the stream. And all your stuff is, I'm reading everything. My list keeps getting bigger and bigger.
Yep.
We're adding stuff too, but it was another thing. Now, I loved Spectro Magic, that nighttime parade. The nighttime parades are incredible. So that's a good point, Walt. That's really cool. So
yeah.
So we're my number 1 then, right?
So this is your number 1, or this is your 3rd pick?
You kind of blew by. Like, we'll probably talk about Horizons. Come on, Horizons. I think is any Disney geek in the entire world will pick Horizons number one. Number one on my list is Horizons. And Dan, it pains me that you did not get to go on this ride in person because it was incredible. It was such an amazing ride, and I wish you could have experienced it.
Now, for anybody who was born after 1994, because that's when I was born, you can probably work out how old I am now.
Yep.
Could you explain
Ruth.
what Horizons was? Hey, Dean, what's up? Add Ruth Metcalf, welcome into the stream.
All right,
so what was Horizons? Why is it considered the Epcot attraction, like the one?
It wasn't even a day one attraction. I think it opened like I'm gonna think Epcot opened 82, 83, and I think it took another year or two for Horizons to come on the horizon, pun intended. But it was just, again, it was just kind of like picture like. It was kind of a combination of a lot of things,
right?
That was which made it cool. It was, a constant movement ride, like kind of like Haunted Mansion, kind of like Spaceship Earth. It just had these little pods, and you would get in, and the door would close, and it would be 4 people per car, and it kind of like you're in your own little world because they kind of put blinders on these rides. You would go in, and it was just a constant ride, and it just was, I don't know, like right now, like that ride, as much as I love it and it holds true dear to my heart, I don't think it would not stand the test of time. You got to remember the times, you got to remember when it was out and everything. The animatronics were, obviously the first gen, whatever, or second gen. I think the first gen would say would be Carousel of Progress. I guess these were the second gen kind of things, and I guess the Witch was like the third gen and whatever onward, but they weren't the greatest, but it was so cool. It was just I'm sure you've seen the videos and everything. You get on the ride, you would see different land, desert, the desert, space, sea, all the different kind of technology, what the future would look like. They took you from a retro look in the beginning to like a robotic butler to like all these little campy spacey things that were Jules Verne dreamed of, in the beginning. And then it would bring you into what the future would look like. And you would go through, and there was an orange crop, and you would smell oranges, and it was, I can't even explain it. Like, and the videos don't do it justice. But like as a kid, you go on this ride, it's just phenomenal. Like there was never. That's the beautiful thing about it. There was never a wait for this ride. Maybe the first day or the first year, but it was a walk on every time. I can go on that ride 50 times and get something. Every time you go on that ride, you would see something different. You would pick out something different. You would see something because it was just so immersive. And so it was very, don't forget, World of Motion was like kind of an open car, and you would look around and everything. This was a presentation. There was nothing behind you. There was a back to you. And they would bring you through all these different scenes. And it was just, I don't know, there's just something about it that was amazing. Like you said before, the Sea-Base Alpha and the Living Seas was amazing too. I missed that. Of course, the Universe of Energy was just amazing too. But for some reason, and the World of Motion, but for some reason, this I love the most, and it just always holds dear to my heart as the number one extinct attraction. Right. I don't know what it is. I have a lot of Steve's asking if I have Horizons footage. I have it a couple times. I think it's on my channel twice. I think I have some more I got to uncover. But
Horizons has given us one of the biggest things for any Walt Disney fan to go by, and that is inspiration. And I'll tell you what, guys. If you go online right now and go into Google and type Walt Disney quote, you'll find a little quote called, "If you can dream it, you can do it." And that is not a Walt Disney quote. It's from the Walt Disney Company, but it was from Horizons. Because that quote was created by Disney Imagineer Tom Fitzgerald, who was the Imagineer behind Horizons. He created the incredible quote, "If you can dream it, you can do it," because the song in Horizons went, "If you can dream it, then you can dream it," and it keeps going. and it's all, you know, based around, you know, what is going to bring in the future, right? Because you saw the ending, you saw the future, right? And that's what Horizons was meant to be. And you know, it's kind of like people, you know, you can go onto Google right now and people will be like, hey, no, if you could dream, you could do it. Walt Disney. But it's not. It's not. And, you know, it's a shame. But I think it's even more amazing that this ride has given us one of the most famous, incredible quotes of all time, mistakenly. But it is amazing. So hey, Rosie Wren, welcome into the stream. And Dean from the Dreamers Empire. If I didn't say hi to you, welcome in, Dean, my good friend.
Dean and Bob, his brother, are just huge Epcot fans. So I know Dean's enjoying this, and I wish Bob was here too, and he would be he would say the same things as I said about.
No, because his name's called Epcot Bob.
Epcot Bob. Right. Hey Jill, what's going on?
Hey Jill, what is up, my Ohana? Welcome into the stream. Fantastic choice, honestly. Horizons, it is a legendary attraction. Going with that great movie ride, you can still get the pin, the Horizons pin, that iconic logo.
Yeah, it was towards the end. That ride, just like great movie ride, that ride definitely didn't. They showed zero love towards that ride too, and it was a seasonal ride towards the end. You know, the seasonal rides like Stitch and that was a seasonal ride. Some of the stuff in Magic Kingdom over the years, they've made them at seasonal rides, but it was a shame. I think that was another point too. Because of World of Motion took so long to reopen, they left Horizons alone for a couple more years, and that was really cool that I got to experience that.
But yeah, really, really interesting backstory about Horizons. Maybe we'll do another Fiasco about Horizons, I think, because it is a unique attraction. As we're getting close to the end of Fiasco, I'm going to go with my last pick, and you know, we have given a lot of love to the studios and Epcot, but we've got to go back to the magic, and an attraction which was very controversial because this ride was deemed so scary that they changed the name to Snow White's Scary Adventures. This ride, I was there literally right at the end of its run. I think I rode it once before it closed. Wow, the Snow White Scary Adventures, it was a scary ride. Just with the Queen and the old hag alone, and the way it turns around, it just scares you. It is oh wow, it was an intense ride. And just a little bit of backstory about that. You know, they had Snow White's Adventures. But you know, there are a lot of people went on that ride, and a lot of kids came off that ride, and they were just scared. They were so scared, so they decided to, change the name to Snow White's Scary Adventures. But it was a classic ride. It was classic. It was exactly what a Fantasyland attraction is. It's a dark ride. It's slow. It tells a great story. It fits in so well with, Peter Pan's Flight and It's a Small World and Winnie the Pooh and Dumbo. The storytelling and the Imagineering in that ride was fantastic, even if it was a little bit more edgy than other rides. So yeah, a lot of people, Amy Scott says, I miss Snow White ride. I definitely miss Snow White ride, says Gailey's Journey. John doesn't remember this ride. This ride had I think it ended in the early 2000s. Dan, Snow White Scary Adventures was genius. I loved it, said Walt. We rode it over and over. What else?
As a kid, it was just spooky. It was definitely traumatizing when I went on it. So
so traumatizing. That's why they changed the name. Yeah. But if they still had it today, do you think people would still be scared on it? Because they still have it in Disneyland, don't they?
Yeah, it's still around. Yeah,
Because there's so much. I mean, you can go and fight zombies on Call of Duty nowadays, and that's more scary than the old hag turning around. But
the times have changed so much.
Times have changed.
It's just so strange. Like, and just I don't know. It would be. It is. I guess it's still around, but it's tame and everything. But yeah, I don't know.
It is a classic ride. Did you enjoy that ride?
Yeah, I loved it as a kid. All the Mr. Toad, that. They were great. They were all great rides. So even I believe it or not, I saw. Really date me because I think this closed in the early '80s or something. That the Mickey's Magical Review was right next to it too, because it was that ride, Mickey's Magical Review. Now it's this 3D movie, and they had Mr. Toad in there, and those they all complemented each other well because they were all about the same caliber of ride. The Mickey's Review was really bad. Like they were literally. Like, you're not looking at me, Dan. Like this was the animation, and like it was like that was the very simple animation, but that was the times. They were great rides. They were classics.
They were definitely classics. Mr. Toad for sure.
Yeah, but Ruth was saying she don't remember being that scary, but it was a kid. I was scared.
Yeah, I was scared as a kid, but I loved it. But that's our top 3. That was so much fun. Rob, I would like you to run through your top 3 again, and then however many honorable mentions that you have, whether it's in Walt Disney World itself or any other parks. You can throw in some curveballs if you would like. Hey, Nathan, welcome into the stream. Good to see you.
Is that what your curveball means?
Hey, look, you can go to that dark, shadowy place across the street if you want to.
My top 3 was Journey in Imagination, the original one, The Great Movie Ride, and Horizons. That was my top 3 extinct attractions. So, a lot of people came up with some stuff. Someone just said they missed the Skyway. Ironically, they're bringing the Skyway back. The
Skyway is now the gondola system. And if you really miss the nostalgia of the Skyway, the bridge connecting the Contemporary and Bay Lake Tower is called the Skyway Bridge. So it's a little bit of an homage there. Not because I knew that because I worked there, but just so what were some of the other attractions on your list as well?
Some things that came up was like, believe it or not, like they used to have swan boats.
The
really early. They got rid of
Magic Kingdom swan boats. Yeah.
I wish that would have been cool to see. I think the first time I went there in the 70s, they had them. I don't think much past that. And I don't think I ever rode them. I don't think. I don't think I ever rode them. But they were cool to see and everything.
Yeah.
Again, the boats at Animal Kingdom too. I don't know if you know that too. They had a boat system around Animal Kingdom. That was really cool too. And they got.
Can I just say we haven't shown a lot of love to Animal Kingdom today?
Yeah. Well, what was taken out of Animal Kingdom?
So there was Countdown to Extinction. Which was replaced by a dinosaur.
Right.
There was Camp Mickey and Minnie, which is the land that was replaced. That had, I think, a Pocahontas show. And they also had, which was on my list, the Jammin' Jungle Parade, which I think was one of the best parades ever that Disney ever put out. But the problem was with the Jammin' Jungle Parade, that Animal Kingdom, the walkways are so small. Like if you go from Africa to Asia, it's really quite tight, and there's a lot of curves there, and the parade just didn't work. So
what else is extinct on the Kilimanjaro Safari? The whole elephant slaughtering ride. You ever see that version of it?
Yeah,
I missed that too.
The Tarzan show. Yeah, thank you, Steve's World. Thank you for that one as well. So yeah, what was some of I'm sure you have a few because we're going to wrap up soon. What were some of the rest on your list?
I miss Disney being goofy with different stuff. I'm finding goofy because I was looking through doing a little research. I remember they made the cake on the 25th anniversary, the castle. They made it into there was a big thing where they did these big balloons, like the big balloon parades, the big balloons around the World Showcase, the big balloon. They were big on balloons. I know some company came in and sold Disney a bunch of balloons for parades and everything. That was cool. Mike from Our Theme Life, good seeing you, Mike. He mentioned Alien Encounter. That was really cool, right? Too.
Oh, I couldn't put that on my list because it wasn't there when I.
Dream Flight was really cool. Dream Flight used to be in
where Buzz Lightyear was, wasn't it?
That was an amazing ride too. And the Circle Vision movie in Disney World was really cool too. I missed that. Someone mentioned the Wizard's hat in the studios. I wasn't a big fan of that. That was kind of cool.
Look,
that's another goofy thing they did with different stuff.
I'm going to be honest with that. A lot of people, especially my generation, really loved that, thought of Hollywood Studios as the hat. But, if you go back at Hollywood Studios history, the Great Movie Ride building, the Chinese theater, is the symbol of that park.
Yeah, they blocked the hat. Bizarre.
Not the hat.
I agree. I have the Maelstrom in here, of course. How could you not mention that?
Yeah.
Not a big fan of that?
Well, here's the thing, right?
Another one I don't think we'll take this test.
Look, I'm not going to rant because ranting is tomorrow for Star Wars Sunday. Maelstrom was a great ride. But when you go to Epcot, right, before it changed to Frozen, I guarantee no one was like, right, Epcot's just open, we're running to Maelstrom.
Right.
And then ever since Maelstrom was replaced by Frozen, we're like, oh, I love Maelstrom. I miss Maelstrom.
To me, I loved it. I went on it every single time.
But it wasn't that, it wasn't the first thing you do the first thing in the morning, right?
Right.
It's not your must. But now and then everyone just pretty much lost their minds when, how could you replace Maelstrom? And I'm like, look, I'm not a Maelstrom hater, but I think because I remember it. I remember the whole thing when Maelstrom changed, because everyone really didn't care much about Maelstrom. They thought it was a great ride. People loved it.
Yeah.
But, it wasn't like, hey, instead of going to Test Track or Spaceship Earth, I'm going to go to Maelstrom. Do you get what I mean?
But I like Frozen too, so it's tough.
Right.
So I'm really sad. And I love the original Mexico boat ride. I thought it was great.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was basically my list. Over at Universal, those original rides when they first opened, they were so innovative too. I think Jaws, Back to the Future, King Kong, Earthquake. I had all those on there because that's another show.
To be fair, I'm not going to lie to you. I did put Jaws on my list.
You guys know me. I love Jaws.
I love Jaws. Oh gosh.
But that's those are the.
So yeah.
What else did you have? Any quick honorable mentions?
Yeah, I've got some honorable mentions. I got the Backlot Tour was my number 1. Great Movie Ride was number 2. Test Track number 3. Snow White Scary Adventures was number 4. I had Wishes / Celebrate the Magic, which was a joint one for me because Wishes resonated with me and connected with me when I was a cast member, and I miss it so much. Happily Ever After is amazing, but Wishes is timeless. Wishes was incredible. The Main Street Electrical Parade, again, bringing back my childhood. Captain EO. Now, I know there's a lot of controversy with Michael Jackson at the moment. I don't care. Captain EO was an incredible show. It really was a lot of fun, very nostalgic. I'm the sci-fi in me. I love Michael Jackson music, and it was just a fun show. Jam and Jungle Parade, Soaring Over California, and I did have Maelstrom on my list. Like I said, I'm not a Maelstrom hater. I did love Maelstrom. That's why it's on my list. So
I come to one conclusion, Dan. We might have to have a part 2 of this one.
I think we're gonna have to. I think we're gonna have to, guys.
Unfortunately,
guys.
Episode Bob in the house. You're too late, Epcot Bob. Go wrong.
Epcot boss just joined. Oh, buddy. And Stacey Rogers, welcome into the stream. But Epcot. Disney Fiasco episode 43 is in the books, guys. This was an incredible show. I think we didn't drop lower than 30 people in the stream today, so I just want to give a massive thank you to everybody in the chat. You guys,
thanks, guys. You're
awesome. I cannot stress this enough. You guys are fantastic. Thank you so much. It really does mean the world to me. We are growing by the minute to our monetization, where I'm going to be doing my 24-hour charity live stream. So thank you so much. But a big thank you first of all is Rob Puzz. Rob, thank you so much. You are my power channel, my buddy, my tech bud, my Call of Duty bud. Just it was a lot of fun, and thank you for joining me.
That was so much fun, Dan. Thank you so much. I knew it was going to be fun. It was 10 times better than I thought it was going to be because it was just so much fun. I'm going to put my channel down there. Check me out, Rob Fuzz, robfuzz.com for all my channels. It's easy to go check that out. So.
And Plugs, pub talks, Frankie Fridays.
Yes, yeah. No, definitely check out Dan's on my channel too. We have a great time. Pub
We
talk
have a great time
every Friday. Frankie Friday with my nephew. I do a lot of retro streaming, and drop that rope. Big announcements next week. So you're part of it too.
Epcot Bob, yes. Unfortunately, you missed Horizons, but the replay is this way. But thank you, Rob. I really appreciate it. Let's say thank you to people in the chat. If you've been here for 2 minutes or the whole minutes, I just want to say thank you anyway. So thank you, Epcot Bob, Stacey Rogers, WD Gaming, Donna Jaworski, wonderful. Steve's World, The Lucky Minute, Yossification, Archangel, Dean from the Dreamers Empire, which reminds me, please, I just want to give a massive shout out to the sponsor of this live stream, this channel, theliveplace.com, where you'll find all your family-friendly live streamers on there, whether it's Disney or un-Disney related. You'll find people like Megan from Mickey's Magic, Mouse Talk, Rob Fuzz, myself, and so many other fantastic YouTubers. So thank you, Dean, The Dreamers Empire, and The Live Place. Job Hazelton, Natalie Tam, Ruth Metcalf, Amy Scott, Jill, my Ohana, Mouse Talk. Now, tomorrow, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Star Wars Sunday.
Do not miss it. It's
Trust me, you guys do not want to miss this, because I will be ranting more than I've ever ranted before. And if you thought Phantom Menace was me ranting, just wait, because tomorrow, all sort of dark side of the Force is going to come out from me. And we're going to be joined by Dave from Brandy and Dave as well. So please check out Mouse Talk's channel. Amanda K, thank you so much. Bobby World, Brandy and Dave, thank you. D Hazel, Avery, thank you, Avery. Good to see you, my friend. Long time no see. Let's keep scrolling up. If I've missed anybody, I'm really truly sorry. I can't get everybody. Ruth Metcalf,
Theme Life was here before.
Yeah, Mike from Our Theme Life, another power channel of mine. Rosie Wren, Chris from Disney World Adventures. Just again, thank you guys so very much. And so yeah, Star Wars Sunday tomorrow on Mouse Talk's channel. And you can also follow me on Twitter and on Instagram at Disney Dan. I've also got my merchandise on Spreadshirt, lots and lots of different designs, all in the description box down below, as well as PayPal if you really would like to donate to the channel. I really do appreciate every donation that people send me, but obviously it's not obligated or anything, but it does mean the world to me for everybody's support. So it'd be really appreciated. Thank you guys so much for everything. You guys are not my subscribers, you're my friends, whether we've met yet or not. I am counting down the days to Disney, and a lot more videos to come out this week. I have a really awesome video coming out this week involving Thanos from Marvel and what weird Marvel characters have defeated him in the past and what's going to happen at Endgame. So that's a video coming out. And also Disney Food Fridays coming out soon as well. We've got a really fun one coming up soon. Oh yeah, Food Fridays. It's going to be awesome. And please check out my videos from this past week. These videos this week have been so much fun. My UK Pavilion, Disney Food Friday Secret, Galaxy's Edge opening day revealed, and how I am going to be there. I know, crazy how I'm going to be there. It's going to be just insane. And again, Disney Fiasco every Saturday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Big shout out to all my power channels. Big shout out to the Live Place. Big shout out to my partner channels, Corey Fiasco and Mickey's Magic. So guys, I really do appreciate it. And anything else you want to mention, Rob?
Nope. Definitely the last Star Wars episode was incredible last month. They do it once a month. So much fun. And definitely check out Brandon Dave's podcast. If you want to know what an amazing person this guy is right here on the opposite side of the pond for me. He's amazing. I started listening to it. Definitely go check it out.
Yeah, so go check out the Disfluencers podcast hosted by Brandy and Dave. They sit down with me for about an hour and a half. And it's not just Disney stuff, not just YouTube stuff, but a lot of backstories, how I was a cast member, a lot of really awesome backstories about me. Hey, Disney Mitch, unfortunately, we're just about to head out, but thank you for stopping by, my friend. Good to see you, my Ohana. by Brohana. But again, thank you so much, guys. So Disfluencers podcast, I'll put that in the description box down below. And also this Happy Place podcast that will be released hopefully very soon. So please check out that as well. Guys, again, thank you so much. See you all next week. Pamela Hoffman, I'm just about to head out. But thank you so much for stopping by, guys. I really do appreciate all your love and support, guys. Live your life with a smile each and every day. And I'll see you guys next week for Disney Fiasco episode 44. And I'll see you all real soon. Good night, everybody.
Good night, guys. Thank you so much.
Bye.